Hey everybody, I'm Wyatt Miller, windsurfing brand manager for Slingshot Sports, and I'm here to talk about why it's worth it to invest in a dedicated foil board over retrofitting your old slalom or formula board if you're trying to get into foiling. I know it seems like a bit of shameless self-promotion, but there's some really good reasons why. And don't get me wrong, I love this slalom board. This 110 liter has carried me across so many finish lines, usually in like 2nd to 5th place, but that's completely besides the point. What is the point is this is 110 and the foil board is only 105, so I'm kind of giving the benefit of the doubt as far as shape to this 110. The first reason why it's better to have a dedicated foil board is just the tunnel box placement on a slalom board isn't in the right place. So you can see here the tunnel box is further behind the front foot straps than it is on the foil board. So the foil board has the back foot strap, right over that tunnel box. Whereas if you look at the slalom board, they're way far in front. Everything in foiling is about perfectly placing that center of lift, so you're standing right over that center of lift, perfectly balanced. And if you're starting off with a board where the box is way too far back, well, you're going to have to move the foil forward somehow. You're just kind of already starting off in a bad place. Whereas the dedicated foil board, you're standing directly over that tunnel box, directly over the mast, right where you want to be. The next piece is you only have a few inches here of adjustment in the dedicated slalom board, whereas I have twice that much in the foil board. Again, everything in foiling is about creating a perfect center of lift and balance over that foil, and I have a huge range of adjustability here in the foil board and only a tiny bit of adjustability in the mast track on the slalom board. Those are pretty huge. Next up is there's a fundamentally different way you get started and get moving on a slalom board versus on a foil. So on a slalom board or a normal regular windsurf board, I'm going to start slogging with my front foot all the way up by that mast base and my back foot in between the two foot straps, and I'm going to get planing and get on top of the water, get planing, and I'm going to move my front foot into the front foot strap. Now I'm fully planing and go back to the back foot strap. Fundamentally different how you start on a foil. Foil, you have to be standing over the center of lift in order for it to take off and carry you. If I'm standing with my front foot up by the mast base and my back foot in between the back two foot straps, it's just not going to foil. It's never going to foil. I'm not standing over the center of lift. So on a foil board, as soon as I get up and I uphaul and I start moving at all, I'm going to go, while I'm dead slogging, I'm going to go straight into the front foot strap and the back foot strap at a dead slog so that I'm standing over that center of lift, and then I'm going to try to build my speed and get up onto the foil. It simply will not foil with my front foot in a normal starting to windsurf position and my back foot in between the two foot straps. I have to be standing over the center of lift in both foot straps to get it to go. So if you look at the slalom board, it really cuts into the back and you lose a lot of volume, and the foot straps are way on the outside. So it's going to be really hard from a dead slog, to go into these outboard foot straps on a narrow tail that doesn't have very much thickness. Whereas if you look at the dedicated foil board, I'm going to be able to just, up all the board, get slogging, move straight back into these foot straps. I've got this width going all the way down. The foot straps are a little bit more inboard, which allows me to stand in them and pump up onto a foil. So just the shape of the board, how stable it is to stand in the foot straps at a dead slog on a dedicated foil board is absolutely huge. Next thing, we all know about swing weight. Obviously the dedicated foil board is about 2 feet shorter per size than the slalom board. Every bit of nose you put in a board when you're on the foil causes swing weight, so you start to turn and the nose just wants to carry you into a turn. The shorter the board is, the more direct to foil control you have. And if you can imagine this big nose sitting out there, you start to turn, now the wind is just pushing the nose of that board and pushing you all around. With that short nose, more direct to foil feel, and the wind is not going to just carry you around like it will on a slalom board. If you are going to use a slalom board, cut 2 feet of the nose straight off, glass over it. It'll actually help you a lot. Next is just You're going to have a lot of nice pad on the back of a foil board. You're going to be able to move your feet all around wherever you want. The foot straps are going to be more inboard, again, helping you when you just want to get started and you want to be in those foot straps right away. All in all, it just makes a big difference to start on a dedicated foil board. When you're over foiling and you're about to crash or touch down, or you're going to hit a swell, the dedicated foil board has chined rails, so they bevel all these rails and chine all the way up, so that as you hit down, you're going to bounce back up onto the foil. Whereas on the slalom board, if you hit, you're a lot of times going to go straight in. Not as good results when you overfoil. Again, honestly, it really is worth it to invest in the dedicated foil board. It's a different sport. Would you take your slalom board into the waves and try to learn how to wave sail? You just wouldn't. It's not made for that. It's exactly the same thing. The slalom board isn't made for the foil. The slalom board isn't made for wave sailing. They're just different animals. So give yourselves a little leg up, bite the bullet, get the board.